everyone. My name is Mike Distilio. I am the current director of Data Technology, Registration, and Community Outreach over at Central Office. Formerly, last year, I was the very, very proud principal of Bunker Hill Middle School, and I just assumed this new role this year. Just kind of a couple housekeeping. This is the We Are Township Leadership Podcast, interviewing profound leaders in the education profession, and then also the budding leaders that they serve along the way. And I'm very proud to be here, and being this that we're filming this and going to send it to the community, both on our YouTube site and on Spotify as well when we publish it. So the way it works, and I think I told you a little bit off camera, but I'm going to start off by describing what I think about Mr. Spencer, and he's going to talk about all the wonderful people that he has in his music program, and kind of why he feels that you're leaders and why he respects you so much. Okay, so I will start by talking about Mr. Spencer. I've seen your body of work, Mr. Spencer, from afar. I know we've not really communicated except for the fact when you wanted to recruit at the middle school or whatever, or maybe when you came and you did a concert or whatever. But as I'm a big fan of leadership. So for me, when I was younger, my father was in the military. I lived in Virginia, so if you know anything about Virginia, there's a whole bunch of military bases. It's in an area called Tidewater, and it's Newport News, that's right around Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton area. Okay, and there's a right around and within 5 miles, just like pizza places in Washington Township, there's a military base in Virginia, right? So there's a naval weapons station. There's two army bases. There is a Coast Guard base there. So I grew up going there, and when I found out that you had military ties as well, Mr. Spencer, it wasn't an accident, right? So that I immediately understood why I respected him. So this is what, I grew up during Desert Storm, and that was during George W. Bush's term. Or no, the first one. His dad, George H.W. Bush. So my dad was really working at that place, and then I came to have great reverence for Norman Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell, who were the two generals at the time that were really leading those forces. So I've studied them, and through that I've got attracted to leadership. So this is what I think I know about you. So if you want to debunk that or whatever, and then introduce kids, but I'm very well aware of what it takes to build a culture. I'm very well aware of what it means to kind of give of yourself completely. So what people have said about you is not, I think band, music is your vehicle by which you connect with people. You could be a social studies teacher, a math teacher for all I know, but you would maintain the same connections with the kids. And I think it's not surprising that you were part of the military, because I could see a very specific focus on what I would consider the mission, right? And you understand your purpose, and you understand how to leverage talent to kind of get to that mission, whatever it is. And I believe your mission is children, to maintain people, quality people, whether they can play well or not. Your job is to help build children, so that when our time is done, whether in education or on the planet, that there's people like you guys who are going to move the machine forward, carry on the mission, the vision that Mr. Spencer has so clearly articulated with you. That's why I respect you. I take very much stock in what people say about people. And people say two different types of things. They either speak in awe and reverence about somebody, or they speak and tear somebody down because they think they're a hack at what they do. So if somebody's speaking highly and in a form of reverence, I pause and I listen, and this is somebody that fascinates me, that I'd like to get to know. So that's why I invited you to this podcast. So my thought is, if people and me have such a respect for Mr. Spencer, and he's choosing the three of you, that must mean you're something special too. So Mr. Spencer, if you could kind of just share about your leadership journey, and then let's introduce your three leaders too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here today. It is an honor to be looked at as a leader in the community and a leader within my students and our classroom. Yes, I did come from a military background. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years, from 1999 to 2003. The unit that I was in was called the Commandant's Own, the United States Marine Drum and Bugle Corps. I take that very, very seriously. One of the things that I was able to do is I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. That's where I was stationed at the oldest post in the Marine Corps, 8th and I. And there, I spent a lot of time at Arlington Cemetery. So one of my jobs as a soprano bugler was to go and play taps at Arlington Cemetery. So that was an honor for me because I was able to give that Marine and that family their final honors. So to be able to go and do that is something I do. I feel takes leadership. To be able to maintain your composure, because it is emotional for a lot of families. But to be able to do that and honor my country and serve my country that way was definitely an honor. That honor I took into education, and I have a master's degree in teacher leadership. So I think that my journey in education, my journey in the Marine Corps, has led me down this path of leadership, which I try to instill in my children and my kids.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. And if you have not, please go to Arlington. It's the most moving experience, and we talk about leaders and heroes all the time, but you're very humbled when you go to that environment. It sounds like you've gone. Have you seen that?
I have military family.
Okay.
And I realize they take it very seriously.
Absolutely.
And always, they always not necessarily like to talk about it or talk about their experiences, but they have the respect for the military, or they have the respect for what people have given them.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Outstanding. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I've known that about you, and I'm not surprised that you have a master's degree in leadership. So can you introduce our leaders here?
Absolutely. So the leaders that I chose today are all underclassmen. We have junior Kayden Profico, sophomore Danielle DiMattesa, and junior Jeremy Engber.
Very good. I would be interested to talk, maybe you can go into a little bit more detail about why you chose that.
So I feel that a lot of times when it comes to leadership, that we always look to our seniors. They've been through the building for 4 years. They kind of figured it out by now.
Right.
They've taken all the life lessons. They've taken all the lessons that they've learned, and they apply it. So by the time that they're seniors, it's important for them to know, because they're getting ready to go to the next phase of their life. I feel it's extremely important to have juniors and sophomores understand those life lessons, and the sooner they learn those life lessons, the better leaders they have become. And then that leadership cultivates leadership within your program. So within our band program, I feel that these three, at a very young age, really started to buy into what we were, preaching as far as, our leadership values, the things that we look at. And in doing that, it was really easy to pick these three. They are the embodiment of our program. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. All right, so now this is time for you guys to kind of, wow, Mr. Spencer thinks so highly of you guys and you're young people. You're not about to leave this and go to college yet. You will, but not yet. I'm interested in. I'll start with Danielle. Danielle, you're a sophomore.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that I know, I've worked here in this district for 8 years. How long have you worked in the district?
8 years.
8 years. So we came in around the same time. I thought he was here longer than me. He probably thought I was here longer than him. But what I realized is that the marching band is a very specific, close-knit culture. And it takes a leader to maintain that culture, but it also takes them to provide that culture to others. So as a sophomore, can you tell me about kind of what you picked up? Are you in marching band
Yes,
and
I
concert
am.
band as
Yeah.
well? Okay. Talk about what you're involved in with the band program, and then talk about how are you maintaining the culture that Mr. Spencer and those that have come before you have tried to instill?
So I play flute in day band, and I play piccolo while on the field for marching band.
Okay.
And something that really helped me become a better leader was the leaders who came before me. I came in a little bit later in the season as a freshman, and the immediate, welcoming and the embrace, as a family, really helped me. And I was like, I need to be able to do this for others, because it made me feel really important as soon as I walked in the door. And I felt like that experience helped me to be a better person for the underclassmen now.
Awesome. I want to kind of go a little
Yeah,
bit further
yeah.
for you, and I know this is unplanned, so I understand.
It's fine.
I'm not a music person.
Yeah.
My daughter's a sophomore. I don't know if you know Mia.
Yeah, I have English with her.
She sings, and I can't sing. I can't carry a tune. So I have profound respect for people that can play instruments. But what I do know is that you're not part of the drum line. So you're not keeping the cadence or the beat, and sometimes the flute players and the piccolo players, you don't know that they're playing, but if they're not playing, you know it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
how do you lead by? I don't want to say just by being a flute player,
Yeah.
but just how do you lead and be a flute player at the same time?
It's interesting. I don't it's like you said, if they don't play, you notice. So knowing that I still, in the music, I still matter and that my parts are important, it kind of relates to the classes, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, because even though I'm only a sophomore, people still will look to me and try and and respect me, and they'll look to me for example or for help for something. So if I'm not there, I feel like you can notice the difference, even for anybody. If they're not there, you're gonna know.
Very good.
Something I would like to jump in on though is it's funny that you mentioned that percussion, because Jeremy's in the percussion section, and
Thanks.
Kayden was our drum major this past season. Everyone is responsible for the time.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
that is something that most people don't
know.
realize
Yeah.
about the band. Is it doesn't matter that Danielle's just a piccolo player or a flute player. Everyone is responsible for the time. So that kind of goes into our leadership factoring
Yeah.
too, because everyone is responsible for their job. And you have to do your job to the best of your ability in order for the band to be successful. But it's not just that. It goes on past that, as well as everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And I'm glad you said each part is part of the bigger whole. And that's outstanding. All right, Jeremy. You're part of the drum line,
I
right?
am,
Okay.
yes.
So tell me about how you use leadership and what does that mean to you?
So in the drum line especially, sometimes we're very secluded from the band. Sometimes we sometimes get our music maybe later than others, and we have to work sometimes even harder than others to try and possibly keep the band together. We treat it as we have our own little subsection of a family, that we try and communicate with each other. We try and connect with each other on some sort of an emotional level. We just try and keep each other accountable as well. It's a good thing, in all honesty, to have those people with me, and to be able to help those people is another big thing. Is anything that I'm able to do to help those people, whether it's coming in early to help them with a part, whether it's staying late to help them with an emotional thing. It's always humbling even to be of assistance to those people.
So you've had experiences where people younger than you, or maybe even your age or older, have come to you and say, "Hey, man, I need some help. Can you help me?"
Yeah, and it's very humbling for that
Sure.
to help them and help them even grow as people.
Outstanding. Kayden, you are a drum major, according to Mr. Spencer. So tell me what happens there.
Yeah, so being the drum major is kind of just like basically being the conductor. That's it. It is, but it's also being the face of the band. I mean, you're the one to lead them in. You're the one to keep the tempo. I mean, like Spencer said, everyone is responsible for the time, but you're the one everyone looks to. So I mean, when they think, oh, there's the drum major of Washington Township's band, like you are like I was the only one. So when we were collecting awards or going out for competitions, I was the one to receive it, and it was a great honor. I felt really proud that Mr. Spencer came to me and was like, hey, I see that you are putting in the work and being a leader, and it made me feel good that somebody
Sure.
recognized what I was doing. But yeah, it's a great honor.
Is that something you wanted to do, or is that something that Mr. Spencer just saw in you?
So the one negative about being drum major, at least for someone who likes to play, you don't really get to play a whole lot.
What do you play?
I play saxophone.
Okay.
So I really love to play my instrument. Luckily, Mr. Spencer and I were able to work it out, so I was able to, still be the drum major and conduct, but also still play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely something I had to adjust. It wasn't something that I was just naturally good at. I've never conducted before, so he taught me how to do that, along with the rest of the staff in the marching band. And yeah, everyone was overall pretty welcoming to the idea. I didn't know how they were going to take it. I mean, they could have thrown me away, and then it could have ruined everything, but everybody was welcoming, and yeah, I felt just like a family.
Outstanding. So sometimes leadership is not something that we gain because we want to do that. It's because of we have leadership because of what others see in us, right? And so sometimes leaders get out of their comfort zone and do things that they otherwise wouldn't be comfortable doing, and kind of that is pretty much what defines a leader too, I'm interested in I know we're going to talk about ethical leadership in a minute. I'm just interested in off the top of your heads, what do you see in yourself that makes you a leader? So if Mr. Spencer sees you as a leader, what do you think he's like? What is it that you have, that you possess, that makes you a leader? And I also want to add a follow-up question was, besides marching in concert band, how else do you lead? That's great that you lead with your instrument or your talent, but what other ways are you leading outside of that? Okay, so I'll start with you, Jeremy.
All right. Well, I think being a leader, like me looking in the mirror at myself, I think I'm a big hype person.
A big what?
A hype man.
A hype man. You're a hype man.
I try and get everyone excited. I try and get people, ready to play.
Okay.
And I try and help people find the love that they want to have for either marching band or whatever it is. I'm also there on an emotional level to help those kids and help everyone else with anything they need, whether you're having a bad day or you need help with a part, like I said. I'm always there to help, and that's another thing. Like I always, even outside of, the time of marching band or concert band, I always try and be of help to people. Be a big help to people, whether it's Spencer, whether it's Kayden, or whether it's Miss Vassapolo in TV production. I'm always trying to be a big help to people and make their life a little bit easier by doing this one thing for them. It's always good. It's always a good feeling for me.
So, what else do you do? How do you show that? You talk about Miss Vassapolo. I assume you take TV production
Yes, I do.
with her. So, besides class and stuff, how do you model this in your regular life when you're not a student?
It's a good question. I think, I'm always there to even like help my mom with whatever. Like I'll cook dinner one night. Let's say she's running late from work. I'll cook dinner one night. I'll help my sisters with their homework. I'll do something like that where maybe my sisters are having a bad day. Maybe my dad's not in the right headspace. So maybe I'll help them with their things. So it's just other things in life that you help with. And again, if you make one person's day better, it makes you feel good about yourself.
Sounds like you're describing yourself as a servant leader.
I try to be.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Kayden.
Yeah, leadership, to me at least, I feel like the one thing that people don't really talk about is sacrifice. Being a leader, it's not about you at all. Yes, you are leading, but you're watching out for everybody, and you're making sure that everybody is kind of like what Jeremy said. Like if you're having a bad day or something is going wrong, they come to you for help, and then it's your obligation to help them. And sometimes, even if you're not in the right headspace or you're not doing something right, you still go out of your way, go out of your comfort zone to help that said person and to make sure the pack is together. The leader in a wolf pack is in the back, not the front. So I think that's
so awesome you said that.
I like that analogy.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Wow, there's so many things to unpack there. Wow. that was pretty. It was. That was very good that you said that. Danielle.
I like to live by the quote that I am the one thing in life I can control. So if I can do something that can help make somebody else's day better, that's really important. But even like just remembering that the way that I act can affect people, that really helps me to be a better leader. Because like they've both said, when somebody else is having a bad day, even if you yourself are, it feels really good to try and help them get through their day, because you can't push your emotions onto them. You can't push your bad day on them. You have to try and help make sure that they can get through this, that they can be the best version of themselves for rehearsal or just going through your day-to-day school life. Yeah.
What else are you involved in besides marching band?
So I play both soccer and softball inside and out of school.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Busy person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kayden, are you involved in anything outside of?
Yeah, so I play baseball
Good for you.
in and out of school, and marching a lot of bands.
It's a lot of bands.
It is a lot of bands.
Mr. Spencer, how do you define yourself as a leader?
One of the things that our motto in band is be better than you were yesterday. And I
Sounds
think
like the Mamba mentality.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Very similar in certain aspects, but that is one thing that we really pride ourselves in our program, is to be better than you were yesterday, and not just in music.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask all those students, they all have other things that they're good at. One of the other things is we don't want anybody to feel like they're boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
Being a band student is one thing that you're great at. You are allowed to be great at other things, and we want you to be great in other things. So being better than you were yesterday doesn't just mean music, it means in life. Be better human beings.
Mm-hmm.
If that means you open a door for someone, you're being better than you were the day before. If that means you ace that test, you're better than you were the day before. You hear a lot of them talking about being servants, and I think that that's something that we pride ourselves on as well, is just being better. I try to do that as well, and I think that leadership by example obviously is huge. Bringing it back to a musical tie, one of the things we say is we want to control the tempo, the thought process. T is the thought process. E is engagement. How do we engage with each other? How do we engage with our audience? M is membership. How do we act within our members and within the membership, and how do we help our membership? P is perspective. What is our perspective? Do we have the correct perspective and the right thought process going forward? O is the outcome. I feel that positive outcome will give you positive outcome, right? It's pretty simple that way, but those are the things that we look at. Those are the things that I try to bring to the table for my students.
Yeah.
And then that way that then moves forward within our program.
I love that acronym. That's really good. It's really good.
I'm just going to hop in on what
Sure.
you said about the, I mean, the outcome is only gained through the rest of tempo, through your thought process, through your membership, through anything else that he said. It's all, the positive outcome comes in through doing all those things and through helping all those people.
Very good. Very good. And I would challenge you, like, I don't think, well, for that culture and that mission, is the outcome. But I would argue, and I would imagine you guys talk about this, that is the outcome for a new version of the tempo, right? So, like, you're kind of going cyclical, right?
Absolutely.
So the outcome is you take that outcome and then you build upon that for others. One of the things I heard all four of you talk about was the fact that you give of yourselves completely for the other person, and that's I honestly think that's why we're on the planet, to be honest with you, you know. But there's also a thing. Have you ever heard the term filling somebody's bucket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys clearly, by the way you're articulating this, all of you do a great job of filling other people's buckets, right? But what do you do? Where do you go when your own bucket is empty because you kept taking out of your bucket for somebody else's? So, like, Danielle,
Yeah.
who do you go to? Like, is it a friend, a family member, you know, another bandmate? Who do you go
Yeah.
to?
So I look to my parents a lot. They're very good at helping to build me up, especially when I'm like struggling to balance my schedule.
Okay.
They really help to fill my bucket, quote, to say it quite literally. They're always there when I need them. But I also go to people within my other sports and in the band. I made some friends that I never would have made without band, and I don't know where I'd be without them, because they help to push me and bring out different aspects of my character that I didn't know were there before.
Wow. Thank you. Kayden, who fills your bucket?
Honestly, if I'm having a bad day and I really just I don't have anything left to give, I'll go to Spencer sometimes, and he'll definitely help me. He's always there, not just for me but for anybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even about like going to another person. Sometimes, like for me, playing my instrument really fills my bucket. I mean, playing my instrument, practicing baseball, it's stuff, just doing things that I love to do will get me in a better headspace and get me in a better mood, and it'll definitely fill my bucket.
Awesome. That's a great perspective.
So I gotta say, like, the couple main people that fill my bucket, my parents, obviously, they help, you know, they build me up. They help my sisters, you know, they always, as much as I hate them sometimes, you know, it's siblings. It's siblings.
This is gonna be published.
No, it's okay. They know it's okay. They're in the band too, so it's always
I
fun to
gotcha.
have them around,
It's
and it's always it's just all the love that they give, and that's the good thing. Mr. Spencer, if I ever need anything, I know the person right to go to. Even Miss Melson in the chorus room, I always know I can go to her if anything happens. And sometimes, you know, if you ever need, you know, people to help build you up, you just look in the mirror at yourself and think, hey, I did these good things. Like, you should be happy about it. Or even, like, I know one time I was just not having a great day. I went to Kayden and I said, hey, Kayden, like, you know, talked about baseball for a while, just because, you know, I wasn't having a good day. So just like little things like that to maybe help brighten your day. I mean, whether anyone can do that, whether it's, you know, think, you know, I have good things, or I've done good things, or, you know, talk to somebody about something you're interested in, or like just stuff like that can help, you know, clear your head a little bit and make you think, okay, now I got this.
Awesome. Who fills your bucket, Mr. Spencer?
Oh, the bucket. It's funny that you asked that, because there's a lot of times I say to them, like, what happens when you're drained?
Yeah.
And who do you go to? There have been many times where I ask that question, I look in the mirror, and I'm like, all right, who do I need to talk to? So I usually go to my wife. Nikki Lynn Spencer is amazing. She is my rock. She's on the marching band staff. She's the assistant
We love Miss
director.
Nikki.
Yeah, they all call her Miss Nikki. She's great. if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would be able to do what I do as well as I do it. Sometimes I go to the kids. You know, I think that that's something that is missing. Everyone looks at the adult to be the one to lead. But there are times where they pull me out of a funk. We'll sit and we'll talk about sports. We'll have a whiteboard that will write all the different, you know, if it's college football or it's baseball or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And that's, again, it's the whole not boxing you in, but that sometimes before class starts or after, at the end of class, we talk about those things because that fills your bucket. My children, as much as, again, sometimes they frustrate me. I have a senior and twins that are in 8th grade, but just sometimes, like, interacting with my senior, you know, that fills my bucket. So there are so many different things that happen and that can fill your bucket, but I think the biggest thing is to fill it. A lot of times what happens is we're go, 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 go. You have to get there, we got to get there, we got to go, we got to move, we got to do this. And sometimes we have to, like, take that step back. As we're going through all the things, enjoy the process. And then sometimes when you reflect on enjoying the process, getting to the outcome that we were wanting in the tempo, right? Enjoying the process and being reflective, that sometimes can fill your bucket.
I concur. Yeah, outstanding. All right, so I'm going to transition then to the 6 qualities of ethical leadership. So this is not something that Mike Distilio fabricates off the top of his head. Leadership is important to me because I like to surround myself with people who, not necessarily are like-minded, but I don't mind feedback at all, whether positive or negative, right? So, like, if Mr. Spencer shot me an email the other day and said, "Hey, Mr. Distilio, we need to talk," and if he said, "I don't like the way you do this," I'd be like, "Okay, let's talk about it," because that, if there's a person that I respect that's calling me out on something, I need to pause and listen because obviously I'm not living up to my standard, right? If somebody who I don't think works as hard as me is calling me to complain, I might not listen. I might not accept that feedback, right? So, and I think that's the accountability part of leadership. So, do you mind, Danielle, if I use this real fast? So, ethical leadership, and I'll give this back to Danielle so Kayden and Jeremy can see it too, is about accountability, courage, character and integrity, empathy, resilience, and self-awareness. So I'll read it again. Accountability, courage, character and integrity, empathy, resilience, and self-awareness. So I look at this as a continuum, much like tempo is a continuum. But I'm wondering if you could define one of the qualities. Where do you see yourself in terms of ethical leadership? We'll start with Kayden.
I feel like accountability is a big one.
Okay.
It's very important to be accountable. I mean, if, like I said, like being the drum major, for an example, you're the face of the band. So if something's happening within the band and Mr. Spencer has an issue or problem with it, he'll come to me and be like, "Hey, like, fix your band." Like, what's
That's exactly what I say too. I'm like, "Hey,
Fix your band.
I need you to go fix the band. Fix your band."
And so that's your job. So you have to go and you have to talk to people, and then you have to be empathetic sometimes, and you have to talk. And if the band is doing good, yes, the band gets the credit, but also the drum major also gets the credit. So it's just being the leader. It comes with that high risk, high reward type of thing. If something's going really well, you get praised for it. If something's not going well, you take the hit.
How do you accept that feedback?
Try to be as open-minded as possible.
Yeah. And it's not a shot on you, Mr. Spencer, but that's a very blunt statement. Fix your band. In that statement, there's a lot there that says there's something going on here that I need you to fix in order to make the product that we've worked so hard for. So that's what that means. And you got a blunt statement, and you got to go with that. How do you do that?
Well, me personally, I like it blunt. So
Okay.
if it's, I don't like it when people beat around the bush because it
Yep.
gets too confusing. When it's fix your band, it's like, all right, I know there's a problem, and
Usually when it's fix your band, he knows the problem before
Yeah.
I know the problem.
That's
and
true.
that's one of the
Yeah.
things. Like the band's they're smart kids. They know when something's wrong.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm about to say it, sometimes he'll be like, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then there's those times where I'm like, yo, you need to go fix your band. Like, and he knows.
Got it.
Or they know. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
he, they know.
Yeah.
They're aware.
Outstanding. Who else? Who else wants to join in?
I think self-awareness is a big one for a lot of us. I mean, Mr. Spencer always tells me, look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And when you look in the mirror, you gotta be open-minded to yourself, which is really hard to do sometimes. Sometimes you think, I did great, but really, you didn't do so hot. And like you gotta take the hit and you have to be resilient to yourself. I think it ties into both. I think you just gotta just see, you gotta be honest and open with yourself, and that's really hard to do for some people, and it's hard to do for me. But I always try and work through different things, whether it's I had a bad day. Why'd I have a bad day? That kind of thing, or whether it's hey, I did something really good, but this still needs improvement. It's that kind of thing that kind of works in that sense.
Awesome. Thank you.
Accountability and self-awareness are really important. Sometimes I'm a little too hard on myself, I will admit. But resilience is something that's really important to me, pushing through when you're struggling, because that's when you get the best outcome, and that's when you feel the best about yourself, is when you know that you pushed through that really hard time and you were able to come out better for it. Empathy is also really important, because it's like you need to understand that you were once in the underclassmen's shoes, and you're going to be in the upperclassmen's shoes, and you need to be aware of how everybody is feeling and how you can help them become better, and how helping them can make yourself even better.
Thank you. Mr. Spencer. Do you want-
I'm good.
All right.
I think that I think it's impossible to pick just one. I look at that as like a 6-piece pie, and they all kind of, you throw all of these ingredients in a roast, and then all the flavors kind of merge together. So I really believe that all of those are extremely important. But one of the things that we didn't talk about is character and integrity. To have a certain level of character and the character traits that you live by, and having the courage and the integrity to live by them to the best of your ability is extremely important. You heard them talk about accountability and self-awareness, and I feel like that's extremely important. Resilience, it's not easy to be in band. It's not. I think that,
It's not.
a lot of times, sometimes, band gets a bad rap for being nerdy or being this or being that, and for these kids to have the courage to be like, no, I'm in the band. We wear our jerseys and we wear them proud, and we go out and we do all these wonderful things for each other, first and foremost, and the community. That's all wonderful and important. To have resilience, to be able to look in the mirror, along with the self-awareness. I think it's a big hodgepodge of all these things in a pot, like ingredients. And then if you do what you're supposed to do, you come out with this wonderful dish that everyone can enjoy. And I think that sums up ethical leadership, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's everybody should, we talk about sports references. Everybody should be able to eat. You know what I mean? And I really believe that about leadership. It doesn't have to be just these people are leaders. I feel like if we open up, the feast for everyone, everyone's going to be able to eat, everyone will be able to get something out of it, and we all become better people because of it.
Outstanding. Yeah. You guys are clearly a tight-knit group. It's really outstanding to see all of that come to fruition. I love the fact, that you talked about it being a feast and everybody has a seat at the table. It's important, and one of the things that marching band or band in general has been that way for a long time. So what has to happen for a band director or a music teacher per se, and I've been somebody who's observed thousands of teachers along the way, and I'm a former English teacher, so there were kids that were acing the class, there were kids that were not doing so hot, but you don't want to, but sometimes a kid gets the A, sometimes a kid gets the C, the D, whatever. In a marching band, you have to leverage everyone's talent to make sure the ensemble is ready to go. So if the piccolo or the flute is not working properly, we got a big problem. We're not working in unison, and that's some of the magic that you have in the marching band, that the sum of the parts far exceed, the sum of the parts far exceed the individual responsibilities. I think, and one of the other things, somebody that admires performing arts from afar, I'm blessed to go to my daughter's dance competitions or my daughter's chorus concerts or whatever, and I've gone to band and orchestra concerts over the years and things like that. Here's what I revere about you guys. If you said, Mr. Distillia, there's going to be 1,000 people in the RBPAC and you need to give an extemporaneous speech on, I don't know, let's just say leadership. I could do that off the top of my head, and you could give me a time frame. Mike, you got an hour, you got 45 minutes, whatever. I could do that. I'm comfortable in that space. What I'm not comfortable in that space is the performance space, where I have to show this talent, and I have to go on stage and I have to perform and play. Things such as being in a play, things such as singing, things such as maybe playing a musical instruments terrify me. And I have such a respect for people that can do that, and you're confident in what you do, but in a strong sense, you're allowing yourself to be incredibly vulnerable, right? And I just have a profound level of respect for people that can get up on a stage and perform, whether they're using their mouth as the instrument to perform, whether they're using, or whether they're playing a musical instrument. It's just, I think what you guys are getting from band and your ability to play it, your ability to persevere, you having a leader like Mr. Spencer, I think it's going to develop into you being some profound human beings, more so than you already are. So,
if there's one thing I could add to that,
Yeah.
though, is that's interesting that you see it that way. The way we see it is a little bit different.
okay.
Everybody can. You know what I mean? I think everyone, that's the one thing about music. Music is all encompassing. Everyone can experience music. So I think that, a lot of times what happens is we're terrified, we're scared. All of us were at one point in time. But the thing about it is, if you can get in front of a group of people and talk about leadership, you can learn how to play an instrument. And we welcome that. So, open invitation to you.
Yeah,
Anytime you want to come down and learn an instrument, we'll be more than happy to have you.
I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar. I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar. It's just.
But music is for everyone, and
Yeah,
we
it
want to make sure that we explain that. Anybody that's watching, if you're interested in learning a music instrument, little
appreciate
plug
it.
there. Come join band. Come on
Thank
down
you.
and join band.
I can play When the Saints Go Marching In on the harmonica. That's
there you go.
See,
there you
you're
go.
already on your musical journey.
Yeah,
so
there you go. Well, thank you for saying that. I much appreciate it. I might just take you up on that.
There you go.
So that concludes my pre-planned questions for today. I just wanted to say an immense thank you to all three of our students here. This is the first time I've gotten to meet all of you, talk to you. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to talk with you and learn more about your journey. We've had our time, and our time now is just being a spectator to all the great things that you guys are doing. It was a pleasure sitting and talking with you finally, and
Yes,
getting
sir.
to know you at a more deeper level. And I just thank you guys for being here, and I look forward to when this is published. So thank you.
Thank you
very
very
much
much.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.